What up, though? This is Knockouts in 3 Counts. But before we bring you another episode of Podcast Gold, let me tell you about the homies over at Michigan's Finest. Do you ever find yourself trying to get yourself together and thinking, man, this is going to be a great night, but I'm looking for that little extra something? Well, check out our friends at Michigan Finest. If you are into medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, concentrates, vapes, anything of that sort, Michigan's Finest has got you covered. And as you can see here, it's all easily done by their website. It's all curbside, and you'll be in and out in 2 minutes. And they're family owned and operated, so customer service is their number one goal. And now, since they are rocking with Knockouts in 3 Counts, use the code KO3MF. Yes, that's KO3MF. You get 10% off your entire order, but that does exclude featured items and items that are already on sale. But if you use that code, you're getting 10% off your items, and I promise you, either if you're looking for that big knockout or you're ready to hit the sheets for that 3 count, Michigan's Finest will get you together. Tell them Knockouts in 3 Counts sent you, and I promise you, you're going to be having a great night. Peace.
This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts in 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a Career World Champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts in 3 Counts is the podcast leading to the real deal, baby!
Knockouts in 3 Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up, though? It is sad but true. We're going to be in the motherfucking building. Metallica, Pantera, Five Finger Death Punch. It's going to be a banger, and I can't wait till November of next year, that is. But all I know is that shit is going to be a banger. If any of you guys are looking forward to checking out this Five Finger Death Punch, Metallica, Pantera fucking collaboration, and you don't want to hear about some pro wrestling and MMA, you're in the right place. J-Bone, Cory, how the fuck are you? Chris, I see you in the comments. You know the drill. If y'all are watching this, please share it, like it, comment, all those. We appreciate you.
Oh, hanging in there, man. Hanging in there on this lovely Thursday. Excited for some fights. These weeks off in the UFC, man. We're so spoiled with these week to week cards that once you get 1 week off, man, you get that itch going. And we got a good fight ahead of us this weekend, not only in the main event, but a solid card up and down. It's what you like to see. UFC finally getting their way out of the apex and building up a card for fuck's sake. But other than that, what about you, J-Bone? How you doing?
Man, I'm just ready for the chill weekend, man. Watch these fights. I'm fucking pumped about the Metallica thing. Like, I know it's literally a year away, but fuck. How do you not get hyped for something like that? Metallica, Pantera, our buddies at Five Finger Death Punch. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go, right? All good.
This is going to be a banger, dude. Like, straight up. There's, like, no other way to put this. I'm looking forward to this shit. It is going to be a banger. My dad would be losing his mind. We
were pretty sore after all the concerts over the past summer, dude. Could you let's not get too close this time, all right? By that time,
I just want to hear for the record, and Cory can attest to it. Out of everybody that went with us to I Prevail, I was the only one that ended up in the motherfucking mosh pit.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I've had my fair share of those lovely times in the pit, and
well, we won't be nearly close enough for the pit this time.
We're gonna be a year older at the time, and we're gonna be a little wiser, and we're gonna know our limits. All right,
sure.
We'll not get.
I think you're speaking more yourself and speaking that into existence, because I remember you were the one dancing down Fremont Street with margaritas.
This is true. You can't take me anywhere. What am I talking about?
Dude, this guy was like trying to do the walk down the thing, throwing his hands up and everything with the fucking margaritas down Fremont Street.
I had a margarita, and I heard a bunch of badass, like, early 90s rock and roll music from, what was that band? Spandex Express or something?
Spandex Nation.
Spandex Nation. And I just walk up on a badass concert. I was like, hey, We're in Vegas,
Yeah.
dude.
I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty fucking cool. Like we had
Slamless
just left the
margarita.
homies over at the Nerd Bar, dude, and then these dudes were like just banging them out.
It was awesome, dude. I fucking put down a fucking 32-ounce margarita and peed for the next 2-3 hours. It was great. I love Vegas.
And then we went into a story that will never be told on there.
Hey, not everything leaves Vegas, all right?
Yeah, that's definitely
happens in Vegas.
keeping its ass in Vegas for sure. For sure. But with that being said, wrestling and MMA, man. We haven't gotten to talk about Survivor Series yet. How are y'all feeling about Survivor Series? I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised with what we saw, quite frankly. I'm not mad at it. Shout out to past guests of the show, and your new United States champion, Theory, is out here doing things out here. I mean, we were telling you that a few years ago, but Austin Theory getting the win, and we had War Games. If you guys go back and check it out, make sure you hit the subscribe button. You can hear our, fantasy picked War Games teams with MMA guys and pro wrestlers, and J-Bone might have won the men's one. I'll just throw that out there. But women's one, I'm going to crush him. My team's going to crush his ass. Go back and check that out. But J-Bone, how are you feeling about Survivor Series? I had to watch it on the replay since I was at RPW Death Right.
I got to watch it live, dude. And I must say, honestly, the build-up for that, like the pre-show, the SmackDown before, everything was really properly built to War Games. And it made it feel very important. You know what I mean? They opened it with that women's War Games match. I was just checking the times. I didn't really think about it, but the women's match went longer than the men's. So that's something to write home about for the women. But that pay-per-view up and down, dude, as a whole was great. Tons of great matches. I was surprised at some of the outcomes, but top to bottom, dude, great card for me. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
You say you're surprised with some of the outcomes. Which match surprised you guys the most?
The Theory thing. I'll be honest. Look, man. Austin Theory's cool. The whole direction with the whole Vince McMahon thing kind of threw me off and really threw me away from that. But then the way he cashed in, just a waste of a cash in just to get that same title back that he cashed in on, which who the hell cashes in for the U.S. title anyway? None of that made sense to me. So I feel like they almost owe it to him. You know what I mean? But I do dig the new persona he's got. He's got the beard and he's kind of aggressive now. I dig that. Good for him.
Well, dude, so that's a lot like what we saw back in his Evolve days. He was a young, cocky kid, but he was a young, cocky kid because he was really talented, even for being really young, and he knew he was good. So, yeah. Even though he was a cocky kid back then, he was talking shit because knew he was good. He's in the main event and got Paul Heyman putting him over before the guy gets into WWE, and now look where he's at. I agree with you. I definitely think Austin Theory has been really turning shit up, even if it's just for the last few weeks. He's definitely been one of the high points on Raw for sure. As far as Survivor Series, I would say, as far as surprising wins, I really kind of thought that AJ was going to get a win over Finn. I really thought he was going to get a win over Finn because I feel like Judgment Day has been kind of getting the best of the OC now for a little bit. But as far as War Games, though, dude, look, the women went out there and did the damn thing. But I got to say, the layers and everything that was in the men's War Games, though, dude, and then to have Sammy, and KO kind of square off, and you didn't know if he was going to help his old friend or stick true to the bloodline. Then Sammy pulled the line that I've been telling people for a while. It wasn't a kick to the dick, but he got him with the old uppercut to the Johnson. And the next thing you know, KO's falls at Sammy's feet. He sets him up for Jey Uso, and the bloodline are victorious in War Games. I think eventually that's going to lead to something. At this point, who knows, man? It might be Solo Sikoa that gets tired of Sami Zayn when originally he was the one vouching for him. So, all in all, man.
What do you think of that great crowd pop we got when Jey Uso hugged Sammy at the end there?
Well, dude, we've talked about it for a while.
They just give each other the hug. The crowd loved it, dude.
Well, we've talked about it for a while, dude. Like the Sami Zayn thing, even if it's not like the most serious thing in the world, might be the thing that people are enjoying the most out of WWE for quite a while. Like when you got a crowd full of 10,000 people chanting Usi. I mean, come on, bro. Like
Still Halloween over here.
Are y'all feeling Usi out here right now? Or if you guys are feeling Usi, let us know in the comments.
It's so crazy to me, right? As the quote unquote outsider's perspective, I always talk about it like that, but it really is true, right? Like I see this stuff and I'm not following as hardcore as most of the wrestling fans, so I got a different perspective on it. And for me, I haven't been following detail for detail and stuff like that with the whole Sami Zayn thing on his rise up, but man, talk about like somebody who in my eyes came out of nowhere to be such a fan favorite that he is at the point now. Like when you kind of first introduced me to a couple of these pay-per-views and stuff throughout the last 2 years or whatever now, Kyle, every time I would see him I was like, man, he is just like, that's the cringiest ass like character that they could come up with, huh? Like, and then he's just playing it up. He's got like the long hair and the like he looks like scruffed and almost like a cokehead, right? Like he almost looks coked out or some shit, right? You know what I'm saying, though, right? Like,
I'm with you.
I get it,
I'm
but
not, and then like for him to,
if
like,
anybody clips anything, it's gonna be Sami Zayn the cokehead.
Hey, all right, cool. But to see where he's at right now, to see this like rise in fanfare and stardom and stuff, like it is genuinely such a surprise from me from the outsider's perspective, because I was like, dude, this guy seems like the crazy guy from up the block from when I was a kid, like for it to be like he's now like this giant star in WWE with this character that he's built off of this. He hasn't really seemed like he's changed too much since from when I initially seen him either. It's like people are really buying into the craziness that he's putting out there. It's
well, that's the thing about him. And Kyle, you've watched Sammy for years. Same thing with Kevin Owens. These guys literally are geniuses when it comes to creative in their own characters. You know what I mean? They just never really have the chance. I mean, don't mean to put it all on Vince, but it's all Vince McMahon's fault. He handcuffs these guys and they don't get a chance to really get out there and show their creative. And I think Sammy's getting a chance to do that finally, and it's paying off, dude, because it's highly entertaining. Highly entertaining. Seriously.
Well, and I mean, what makes it so awesome is, Cory, you speak to, what you've seen, since he's been doing this, but anyone who knows anything about Sami Zayn, I mean, from El Generico to what we saw in NXT to what we've seen him do on the main roster to, what he's doing now. I mean, this just shows all the layers of Sami Zayn, and anyone that knows anything about him knows he goes by the master strategist for a reason. So don't think that crazy bastard doesn't have his wheels turning, and at some point is going to plot a way for him to come out roses. That's all I'm saying.
For sure. He seems like a guy that definitely has some wheels turning. I don't know if the rubber's meeting the pavement or not, or if he's just spinning those wheels for no good reason. But apparently right now those wheels are turning in motion. That's for sure. So
they're rolling to the bank.
How does it pay off? Like, it's got to come to a head somewhere.
And to your point, Kyle, like how you had initially even brought it up, I feel like even like the wrestling hardcores, like your guys, like yourselves, you guys got to almost preference it like, oh, well, it's not so serious. Like he's playing games in there, but doing well. And it's like, so to your point, what's the payoff at the end? It's like with all this popularity and fandom and stuff that he's gaining, is he going to be the one to take it off of Roman or some, like crazy thing like that? Or is it just like now you have another fan favorite in the background that you can pull in on these pay-per-views and stuff like that and put in big matches? I
think eventually he's going to take his big grand shot at Roman and probably fail. But I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if KO gets in his ear again, because remember how they left it. KO was like, I'm not even mad. Now everybody's seeing what I've been seeing for 20 years. And I mean, he goes, how can I be mad when I've stabbed you in the back how many times? So I don't know. All I know.
Let me ask you this, man. I mean, you've watched wrestling your whole life. You know how to book these things. How would you do it? Like, what would be the final? I don't want to say final because this thing could go on for a long time, but what would be the straw to break the bloodline to finally show, okay, Sammy's going for his gold, dude.
I think Sammy should go like full mole. Like he's already infiltrated the bloodline. Like
go like first
like,
48 style, start snitching on some insider information.
I mean, there's nothing to like, not necessarily snitch on him, but what I mean is more in a sense of like, eventually, you know, we've seen him talk down to Sammy all throughout the whole thing. So what if eventually Sammy says, fuck this, I'm tired, you know, you guys want to talk to me like I'm stupid, and then he just drops the little hints in there about reminding people about him being the master strategist and all those kind of things, you know, and then when the time is right, you know, what if Sami Zayn, you know, wins the Royal Rumble or wins the Money in the Bank? Let him win the Money in the Bank. If he holds on to the belt in the next year, let him win Money in the Bank, and then have him say, "Well, I got the Money in the Bank, Oos. Now I've got the Money in the Bank, so nobody's going to take the title off you. The title's never going to leave the bloodline." And then I don't know, what if KO comes creeping back in and, you know, gets in Sammy's ear, and when Sammy thinks the time's right and tries to cash in, Jay turns around and it's like, "I told you this motherfucker was a mole."
Yeah.
There you go. Bingo, bango.
It's going to come down to something like that. I think we're going to see Sammy be faced with like, okay, dude, here's your chance. And even it could be even maybe he sneaks his way into, you know, the Royal Rumble and potentially eliminates one of the bloodline guys to throw something off, or maybe he sneaks into a triple threat match and has his chance to pin Roman. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to come to a head where he's got to really make a choice. And I think that was the first little layer of that at War Games.
Oh, sure. I don't think we're going to see him like full on, like blow it up like anytime soon. But I'm telling you, eventually Sammy's going to get tired of playing in the background, and he's going to let him think that he's just riding the coattails, and then he's going to shoot his shot.
Or
even if he crashes and burns.
Here's another way. Maybe we can, and this is how we could get more heat on the bloodline and Sammy more so be a better babyface. Maybe Sammy is loyal and they just eventually say, "Hey, dude, we know what you're up to." And they whoop his ass and just make you feel so bad and crush him. And he disappears for a while and then comes back and he's this big time babyface. And maybe he takes a shot at Roman. Maybe he wins the Rumble, like you said.
I mean, I could see him stomping him out and then having him come back to KO and be like, "Look, bro, you were right. Let's get these bastards. I know how to get
the tag title. At least get the tag.
Well, right, but that's why I had the idea of the mole thing, right? Like, let him be the mole from the inside, and then let him start to crack him. Like, you know, let him, you know, "Oh, I got the Money in the Bank." But then, you know, when he finally turns, you know, do it in one big thing and have him and KO try to just take down the bloodline as a whole.
Yeah.
You know, you already kind of got the seeds with Solo, you know, kind of seeming like he knows something that we don't from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let him infiltrate. He's
a little
from
curious
the inside,
already.
Dude. Could you imagine KO and Sami Zayn as the tag champs?
That'd be awesome.
And then have Sammy take his shot at Roman. I mean, I don't think he's the person to take the belt off him. I mean, I'm just saying, this is all just a spitball. But
we're using the old Pedenzel.
Yeah,
I got Pedenzel tonight.
Somebody pulled out the sharpener tonight.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, really. Sammy was pulling out his Sharpie when he had to sign another check. His shit is rolling to the bank right now. And if you're rolling to the bank, check out the sponsors at G3 Payroll and Tax. Get your motherfucking taxes together with G3 Payroll and Tax. Tell Jack and the boys that Knockouts and 3 Counts sent you. And then you can use that 10% off code at Michigan's Finest and then tell them we sent you there too. But like I said, make sure you check them out. They'll get you together and get you right for tax season. All right. You know who else is rolling into the bank right now? MJF. And man, he sent William Regal rolling away on a stretcher, bro. So J-Bone, I want to get your thoughts on this, man. What did you think of MJF? What did you think of the Triple B, bro? The big Burberry belt.
I dig it, dude. I like the belt. I think it's awesome.
I'm not gonna lie, that bitch was pretty crispy.
It's fitting, and who better than the cocky bastard like MJF to fucking present it? You know what I mean? The thing with Regal, man,
Tony Schiavone hated it.
I really would have liked to see Regal be, that advocate with MJF. I think that would have fit well. But he don't need him because MJF don't need him.
He don't need nobody.
He don't need him at all. But who better than Lord William Regal? But if the rumors are true from what I'm reading, and I don't know if it's to be true, but is he potentially headed back to WWE?
Who, Regal?
Yeah. Last I read, his contract is nearly up at the end of December, is what I'm reading. And he's potentially headed back to WWE. That could be a stupid, dirt sheet rumor mill thing, but I've read it. So.
Everything's always an option, but I mean, we've talked about this before. I don't put too much stock into the shit that you read over there. I mean, we'll see what happens with Regal. I mean, Regal is an asset anywhere he goes. Here's the question. Do you think that Regal thing went too long on AEW? Because I definitely think he was trying to like lull the people in. Yeah. But do you think it was too long?
It happens, I guess. Man, you can't get them every time, but yeah, I think it did go a little long, but it's all good, man.
But the way they tied it up and the way he quoted the email at the end.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave you with the same words you left me with 7 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's good storytelling, man. I mean,
MJF only employs pro athletes and world-class talent. When you become those, send me your stuff.
I like it. That's great storytelling right there, dude. That's what you love to see in wrestling.
Oh, yeah, dude, that was dope. I mean, if you were going to put Regal out, to send him out on a stretcher, and then to have Danielson ride with him in the back of the ambulance, dude. No. I mean, that was some money. And I mean, if he's headed back to WWE, before we switch over to the MMA side of things, who do you think some of the biggest winners have been as far as, WWE goes since Triple H has been back?
You mean like main roster wise, or are we talking NXT, or what are we talking? Just anywhere,
whatever. I mean, you could use what you want, but obviously, probably main roster.
Well, it's a good question. That's a hell of a question, Kyle. Thanks. I'm gonna say honestly, I feel like Seth Rollins, dude, has gotten a lot more creative with his shit. I mean, we already know he's a creative genius anyway, and he's always doing well. But I feel like Rollins is still. I mean, in my opinion, he's the best thing on Raw. He's still like adding layers to his character. He's still getting better and better and better. I mean, I feel like that's one of the dudes that needs that creative control, not complete control, but creative mind to like say, hey, here's where I want to go with my character. Here's where I want to get to. You know what I mean? I think Rollins is getting
there, when he told Theory, shut up and let him sing.
Yeah.
Shut him up in mid-sentence. Right. Shut up and let him sing.
Yeah.
Dude, like Seth Rollins has been a G for a long time. The guy, win or lose, he's one of those guys that's
a guy that just doesn't need to be cuffed. You know what I mean? You just need to let him kind of go out there and do his thing, man, because he knows how to reel him in. That's a dude you don't want handcuffed.
I mean, you're not wrong. And then when you take into the fact of like what him and Lashley were able to do for Theory, dude, like Seth Rollins is going to be money for a long time. But I think I'm hoping in 2023 we kind of see more of a rise back to prominence for Seth Rollins. Do you got one on the female end of things?
Rhea Ripley. I think
that's the obvious choice.
That's huge right now. I mean, the whole character with the Judgment Day. We already know where that's going. But
she is money, bro. And then when they really insert her back into the women's title picture, anybody that says she's not an immediate threat, you're an idiot.
She was a huge wild card in the War Games match. She came in there and
she had more experience than anybody else in it.
Yeah, her presence alone just makes everything different.
She was stacking them chicks up like Cornwood, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just saying she was stacking them chicks up like a body bag.
With one of the better attempted pins in wrestling, if you ask me. So,
all right. If I gotta pick some, I would say Theory would be my pick as far as the men have gone, because when Vince went away, he kind of like dipped down. And then, ever since he's kind of come back with his new attitude after the failed cash in. I like it, dude. I've said since we had him on the show a few years ago, like that guy is the future of WWE once he gets in there. And I mean, you talk about the stereotypical WWE guy, but like that kid's got money written all over him. As far as guys, I think he could be the next one up as long as it continues to keep going as it is now. As far as the women,
Sheamus too for me. I meant to say that earlier. Sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, I mean Sheamus is a G, dude. At this point, he's going to be a Hall of Famer at some point. I mean, if you're being honest, he's going to be a Hall of Famer when you look at his overall resume. And what they did with the Brawling Brutes versus the Bloodline with Drew McIntyre and KO. I mean, again, I enjoyed the men's War Games match. As far as the women go, it's kind of hard not to say it's Rhea Ripley. I mean, from what she's doing into the ring to the fact that they showed up on Rey Mysterio's doorstep and beat the shit out of him at his own house on Thanksgiving, like,
that was
like,
awesome.
Dude, that's about as savage as it gets. I'm just saying, you whipped this man's house in his own foyer on Thanksgiving, so that's pretty wild.
Look, Dominic said it was because he already had his Christmas tree up. He wasn't having that shit. It wasn't even the end of November.
No Christmas trees before December.
He had his Christmas tree up, bro. That shit don't fly for Dominic Mysterio. So.
Yeah, apparently not. But yeah, those would be my two big ones, man. As far as names that have really stuck out, I would say those would be the ones that are there. But I'm genuinely, I gotta say, I was saying this to somebody last night though. I will say this, out of the WrestleManias that I've been to out of state, I'm probably more excited for this one than any of them.
Is it just because of the whole Rock thing, or is it because of the takeover with Triple H, or is it a combination?
I think a combination of the both. I think it's a combination of the both.
Okay.
I mean, that'd be cool, but I really just feel like the storylines that we're going to get headed up to WrestleMania are going to be a lot better with Triple H, I feel like. So
I feel like the Royal Rumble is really going to show us where we're going.
I think you're going to see the Royal Rumble be a big influx of new people.
Yeah.
When do they run Rumble again?
January
28th.
Okay.
January 28th. That's when I will win both of those belts.
Again, them motherfuckers are staying where they at.
You know what?
They stay where they at.
Mine's back there in that room right there.
It's all right. You can keep one, but I'm keeping the other one
back there.
Hopefully this year I don't get stuck with both, like the prop characters. You know, like I get it.
Hey, what if you? History
show.
shows you got who'd you get last year? You had Johnny Knoxville. You had Bad Bunny. Maybe you're gonna get Logan Paul.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't know. He tore his ACL. Remember?
Yeah. What a return it would be for him to go into the Rumble.
What if he gets old Cody Rhodes?
Let's hope not.
Yeah, I know, right?
Let's hope not.
Then I might lose a belt. Fuck that! Ain't nobody trying to lose a belt. But with that being said, it's I don't know, man. It's interesting to see how we play out. Yeah, but for me, mainly those are the two reasons I'm looking forward to this WrestleMania. Now, to say it's the one that I'm most excited for is a little rough though, because with Austin having his what may have been at this point his last match, because I keep hearing he might get back in the ring. So I was pretty hyped and excited for that. So I can't say I wasn't really excited for this one. But as far as like from a show from like top to bottom standpoint, I feel like we're gonna get a really solid card come this WrestleMania. I feel like by the time everything shakes out, I feel like we're gonna have better stories headed into the first WrestleMania. Knock on wood, but I kind of am hoping that that's what we're gonna see out of this year's WrestleMania.
I want to know if you got an early Rumble winner. I know it's early, but if you had to pick one now, you got one in mind?
Rhea Ripley wins the women's Rumble.
I like that. I already picked my women's one a couple months ago, so I got to stick with it.
Rhea Ripley wins the women's Rumble unless she's already in the title picture. As far as the men's Rumble, I don't know. I really feel like, what if The Rock wins it?
I'd love it. God, could you imagine the freaking craziness if The Rock shows up in the Rumble?
The Rock
That'd
just
be
shows
wild.
up as somebody's about to walk out, smacks the shit out of some guy, and takes his spot, and then wins the Rumble.
The freaking world would stand still if The Rock showed up in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
That'd be a hell of a way to rationalize the return and stuff too. You know, oh, I came in to take what's mine. I know this is the clearest way to it. Type of, you know.
well,
Yeah.
right. And the thing is, dude, The Rock's completely believable that he could like come in and win the fucking thing. Like he's a big enough name that you don't have to see him win a bunch
He's a
of
big
matches.
enough body. What do you mean big enough name? He's a big enough body, bro. Have
You're
you
not
seen him
wrong
lately?
there either. The guy's like a fucking Samoan tank.
Fuck, dude. He's big.
He might make Roman look small out here, bro.
Yeah, you see some of these big guys in there, and you're like, damn, you know, like you think they're big, and then you see his like veins sticking out of his freaking temple and shit, and you're like, oh yeah, all right, there's levels.
Guy's got his whole fucking calf is one big vein. It's ridiculous, dude. That's why you got to drink that Zoa energy drink. It makes you get all veiny.
Or is it the Termana tequila, bro?
Oh, that too. Yeah, that definitely makes you get veiny. Absolutely.
I just want to throw out there, I bought one of those energy drinks from the lovely Dollar Tree. So apparently they're selling really well because they work their way into Dollar Tree. And not
Was it
only
a buck?
For Terramana?
No, not for the
energy drink.
For the
Wait a minute,
energy
listen.
drink,
If there's Dollar Terramana tequila, let me get
I'm like, damn, his tequila's doing that bad?
I'll back the truck up right to the back door. Just throw it in the truck.
I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, orange flavored one, and I was not impressed. Not a fan. Yeah.
I tried
Speaking of trying things,
pineapple
bro.
coconut. It was great.
Really?
Yeah.
All
Mix
right.
that with a little Terramana, you're all set for the night. It's perfect.
See, I knew it had to be mixed with a Terramana. But with that being said, bro, when are we getting some wings so we can do like this taste testing on this hot sauce? Or
I
does your
still
fat
got
ass
it,
eat it
but
all?
Oh God!
You better hurry up before that original OG spice is gone.
Fool, I've been telling you, let's do it as soon as you got it.
Get it?
What the fuck? I even said it on air. I was like, when you get it, we're gonna do a Dustin Poirier hot sauce tasting and shit.
Yeah,
And then I never got to try no hot sauce. Although at the same time, my stomach might be mad at me for it. But for your viewing pleasure, I'll see if my stomach survives.
You guys all get to see me sweat from one bite of hot sauce.
It'll be like an episode of Hot
I can
Ones.
eat a whole damn bottle of hot sauce. It doesn't matter. But I'll be sweating off one bite. It doesn't matter. I don't get it.
Dude's dripping sweat into his
Not
chicken.
bad, huh?
Yeah.
A different
No, it's
different
just like
style
my
of
forehead.
drip.
It isn't my body. It's literally just my face. My face gets like instantly dripping sweat, like instant. And I'm like, all right, gotta
He's
push
like the
through
shit
it,
you see
grab
in the
a napkin.
cartoons and stuff.
Yeah,
it's taking
literally,
drip
it's
to a
like
whole
the
new
shit
level.
you see in the cartoons. So, yeah, get ready for that, boys.
You know, speaking of drip and sweat, you know, that's the thing that you do at weigh-ins, man. We were talking about it before we went on the air, man. It looks like Joe the Party is over here like making friends again.
Yeah, it seemed like he had how do I word that? A potentially abrasive personality when we had him on the show, right? Like, I didn't mind him. He was definitely cool with me and stuff. But that being said, I could see where he may run into people that may not like that type of attitude that he brings. And that being said, it seems like we found one of those in his opponent for this Icon fight coming up this weekend.
I mean, shout out to the Party going to war over there for old Jorge Masvidal. I mean, I'm sure Masvidal can get down with a little banging, but yeah, man. He's just testy before the fight. But I mean, shout out to Joe the Party. Good luck in your fight. We'll have to see how that one fares out.
If he still has a fight.
Yeah.
Masvidal ain't stopping a fight for that.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, in that video, it looked like Masvidal was the one in the little bucket hat there, and it looked like he was kind of also shoving him around a little bit. And I know if I'm the promoter, and I'm like, dude, you think you're gonna like literally come up in here and just because I'm scheduled to fight somebody, you think I won't pay the other dude his fucking show money and tell you can't do shit, get the fuck out of here? Because that's, you know.
Not a
That's
good
what I
look,
would
yeah.
do.
Not a
You
good
know?
look.
Cory said he ain't playing no games. Well, we'll see what goes down at Icon FC from Jorge Masvidal. All right, dude. It's been kind of quiet in the world of MMA. I mean, you know, one thing that's been a topic that we've yet to really get to talk about is, you know, I respect the decision, but man, did Glover Teixeira shoot himself in the foot?
No, I think the UFC did him dirty more than he shot himself in the foot. God damn, cat! Don't shake my whole stand here. I really think the UFC did him dirty in the sense of he said he would accept the Jan fight. He said, "Not a problem. I'll fight him. If Ankalaev is the opponent that you want in this title bout, give me an extra month. The style's way different. Which I disagree with that take. I feel like if anything, Jan and Yuri are different than Yuri and Ankalaev. I feel like they're more similar but either way, beyond that point, I feel like it was a respectable ask, right? He said, I'll accept one of the two potential opponents. If not, give me an extra month and, we'll do it in Brazil, I think he said. They went against that clearly, and here we are with Glover just completely off the card. To your point, Kyle, I don't know if you had said it on the show or earlier while we were talking. Glover's not a young dude no more. For him to kind of back his way out of this title bout, whether it was intentionally or just the UFC kind of dicking him around, it's unfortunate. That's a light way to say it. I'm sure that's not what he wanted at this stage of his career, is to be delayed another couple months, But that being said, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I like the matchup still, but it was a matchup we were already going to get, right? So it's kind of like, I don't know. It sucks that Yuri got hurt. That's kind of the biggest thing that sucks, I feel like, out of this whole situation. I feel for Glover and all of this, but it is what it is. They got to keep the ball moving. They need a main event. They didn't want Jan in the title bout, even though he's in the title bout, which kind of makes no sense to me if it's that big of a deal. You know what I mean? But I don't know. That's kind of my biggest question in all of this is if you couldn't do Glover versus Jan because whatever, it was a rematch or whatever ran through their mind of why they didn't want to do that one again, then why can you do that for the title with him versus Ankalaev? That's the thing that confuses me the most, I guess, in this situation. The matchmakers do all kinds of weird stuff, and cutting Glover out of it is what it is. I don't like it, but that's what confuses me the most. Is it seemed like they were trying to keep Jan out of it, and now he's fighting for the title.
And he was only asking for another 30 days, right? I mean,
yeah.
I don't think that's too much to ask for, considering it's a very important fight.
Right.
But at the same time, to your point, Glover ain't no spring chicken, dude. It's not.
No.
It's not a time when you want to be backing out of a fight, or in any case, pushing it down the way. But yeah, I think it's just that's a series of like unfortunate events with that situation. But hey.
I think so. Here's the thing with that. A series of unfortunate events, yes, in a way, but at the same time, dude, it's also, here's the thing. I think it has more to do with the fact that the UFC doesn't like when people say no to them. Like, if we're really being honest, I think that's what it boils down to. They don't like when you say no to them because it's not that different of a. It's not. Dang, Siri keeps trying to talk to me. But it's not. It's not that big of a. It's not that big of a wait time at all. But at the same time, I don't even know how to put it, bro. It's just like it's not even that long of a wait time. It's like you said with how old he is. He doesn't have a lot of time to play with. So I also understand his point of view, wanting to be more selective of his matchup and things like that.
Properly prepared for a
and 100%. What it might be his last title shot.
Yeah. Well, not only title, it might be his last fight in general. If he goes out there and goes out in a blaze of glory, that very well might be the end of his, MMA run. I mean, in
well,
all
not to
honesty,
mention my big thing with it too is like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Jan or Ankalaev aren't deserving to be in that spot, but how the hell does the former champion who was damn near knocking out the guy who was the champion, how is he not in the next fucking fight? I don't understand. That's the part that's like mind blowing to me. Like, I feel like, how do you skip over him?
The Ankalaev thing makes sense because I know when Anthony Smith versus him the matchup was being made between them two. It was kind of like we'll either go Jan or we'll go the winner of this bout. And that bout kind of didn't really play out the way people wanted. Smith broke his leg really early, and it just kind of wasn't, what we had hoped for, or at least on my side. And that being said, I get where they wanted Ankalaev in there, though, because he's on an incredible win streak. He's on like a 8 or 9 fight win streak or something, and one of the best divisions in the UFC at 205. It might not be the most talent rich, but whenever them big boys get in there, 205, anything really over 200, there's a different level of respect put on these guys when they get in there and do their thing. So I don't know, man. To your point, I feel for Glover and all this. I really do, but I feel like he's probably still got next. And really, I was not surprised because it was such an incredible fight with the first one. It was almost fight of the year. It very well might still win fight of the year. But I don't know. I was kind of surprised that Glover got the rematch. The fact that he was so senior in his career. He is so, Glover's old, man. And I think that's why they didn't want to put Jan in there, is because they didn't want 2 older guys fighting for the title again when neither one of them are the rightful title holder at the current time. And I think that's why they wanted Ankalaev in there, is maybe we can get this, 33-year-old or whatever. I don't know how old he is offhand, but 33-ish. We can get him to win the title.
Like 75, so it's just like,
yeah. Well, if I'm not mistaken, he's 42 or 43 at this point, and that's really not young. That's really getting up.
But he's fighting at like a great level though, because he's beating the top guys in the fucking division though.
Absolutely, and I don't disagree with that. I was just surprised. Like I said, I was slightly surprised when they rematch the fight back immediately, and then for Glover to kind of get cut out of it in the long run is kind of like, I don't know. They did him so dirty. That's kind of how I feel. The matchup kind of got pushed back. Like the original fight was almost a year ago, and now they go to do the rematch, and here we are. I don't know. I don't know what to say on it, honestly.
I mean, we'll have to see because, Yuri, they said that it's a bad enough injury that he's going to be out for a long time. But, that's not the only thing that we've got going on, man, because this weekend, the UFC's got a hell of a banger card that's going to be on a damn fight night, for goodness sake.
It's trying to tell y'all.
I dig these free fights. I dig these free fights.
Yeah, but the free fights that actually have good fights on them, though. Not that I ever have a problem with watching somebody bang, but I'm looking through from the prelims to that, and you've got everybody from Michael Johnson to Clay Guida to let's see, Angela Hill's fighting on there, and I really hope Angela Hill gets a dub in this one. Nico Price is in the main prelim, and then honestly, when you look up,
and he's taken on Phil Rowe. Not to interrupt you, but that's he's got a game ass opponent, and it's a prelim fight. Like the prelims are just as stacked as the main card on this one, and there's so many games throughout.
And then you got Eric Anders is fighting Dacus on there. You got Delidze and Hermanson. You got Matt Schnell and Nicolau. Then you have Brian Barberena versus Dos Anjos, which, man, that fight scares the shit out of me. Holy God, are those the real lines for that?
Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
Lines, ain't they? crazy. They're like
I haven't
Wow.
500 or some shit. For,
Plus 430 for Brian Barberena.
Yeah. Yep. Crazy
Damn.
lines. And you won possibly my favorite fight of the night that you missed on that card. Tai Tuivasa taking on Sergey Pavlovich.
Well,
man.
I was getting to that next.
That one.
Wow, I did. I jumped right over it. But
that
fucking
one.
no, that was the other one I was getting ready to name because I always love watching Tai Tuivasa fight, but man, these two dudes are gonna bang. And they got Tai as the underdog in this one too.
Yeah, rightfully so. I mean, Pavlovich has shown that, man, he's a force to be reckoned with himself, and I feel like this is a real step up in competition fight, so we'll see where he goes, right? Like his last one, he kind of steamrolled through Derek Lewis, so we shall see. You know, I feel like he's a very, very promising heavyweight, you know, potential contender, and I feel like if he's able to get through Tai Tuivasa, whose last fight was for the interim title with Gane, if I'm not mistaken. And that was a hell of a war. So Tai, at this point, in Tai's early stages of his UFC career, I was very not sold on him. I was like, man, he's just a big brawler that if he gets taken down whatsoever, he doesn't know how to get up. He doesn't know, you know, he's just big and swings with all that weight. You know, and as long as he's able to connect on people, yeah, he'll win the fight because he knocks people out. But other than that, he didn't really show any apparent skills to, you know, my untrained viewing eye, you know. But that being said, he has really progressed those skills to a point where now I do see that he's actually setting things up in there. He's actually really working his game. He may still be a big brawler that's lugging around and stuff in there, but he's able to defend a lot of these takedowns now. He's able to fight off a lot of these guys a lot better than he was in the earlier stages of his MMA career, or at least UFC career. That being said, this is a tough matchup. I like Tai Tuivasa. I really do want him to win, but man, Pavlovich is a tough one. I really do feel like he's somebody that he's gonna be the next Surreal Gane type of character where all of a sudden he's in the top 3 of the division just perennially until, you know, whatever the circumstance be. But I feel like his skills are already at that level. He just hasn't made that step up in competition to be able to showcase it. So we shall see come Saturday, right?
All right. Well, before we get out of here, let's make some picks on this shit. We talked about some of the fights we're looking forward to. You got Kyle Dacus and Eric Anders. Who you got in short form? I think, I don't know, man. I'm kind of liking Kyle Dacus in this one. Maybe it's because I like his name, but Kyle Dacus is going to win this one.
I'm a big fan of both of the Dacus brothers. I really am. I am really concerned, though, to keep it short, about Kyle Dacus with his knockout loss in his last one against somebody who else is fighting on this night, Roman Dolidze.
That's right. I forgot he had that knockout last
That
week.
that was bad. That was a rough one. And I know he took some time off, if I'm not mistaken. It's been like 6 to 8 months or something since that fight. So it's been a decent amount of time. I'm sure he got his head and his wit back together and stuff. But that being said, man, you get your bell rung like that and you're taking on another tough guy in this one. And I don't know, man. I really do like the Dacus brothers. I really do want to see both of them continue their success throughout their career. I like their work mentality. They're no nonsense. Just get in there. Don't really muss and fuss. They just take on whoever's, you know, they're good, solid fighters, but man, this is a tough one, honestly. But I'm gonna lean that way, but it's a tough one.
Who you got, J-Bone?
I'm taking Dacus, dude. I mean, Anders is coming off, he lost 2 in a row also. So he doesn't really have the momentum here. So in short form, I'm gonna go Dacus.
The battle for number 8.
Not because I like his name, Kyle. I don't need your shit, all right?
I feel like he's definitely the more skilled of the two. Eric Anders is more of just when he's on, but when he hasn't been on as of late. So we shall see.
How come there's no
J-Bone's just on some Haterade. That's what it is. He's on Haterade.
Cool fighters named Jordan.
I got one that I could say, but I probably
I know. That's why I said.
With that being said, the battle of number 8 and Jordan's Haterade is up next. You got Jack Hermanson versus Roman Dolidze, and you know what? They got him as an underdog in this one too. Shit, I might run me a nice little parlay up in this joint. And I think
You're
Roman
gonna tell me about
Dolidze
my
is
government.
going to fuck Jack Hermanson up.
Do you really? I mean, he can't. Like I'm saying, Roman Dolidze is really
Fuck him up might be a strong term, but I just
Yeah.
feel like he's on momentum, though.
He's definitely got the momentum on his side. But if I'm not mistaken, Jack Hermanson's last fight was that Darren Till fight, right? Wasn't it Darren Till that he ran through? He ran through somebody in his last fight, and he looked like he had just stepped his game up like entirely and really progressed his skills. I see Jordan over here typing it up. Am I right or am I wrong?
They're both coming off a win. I'm just trying to see.
Well, no, it was.
Well, who's
Did
the
something
opponent?
completely
That's what I
different.
really care about. Who Jack Hermanson steamroll in his last one? I remember that he just like
I can
laid it
find that
on
out.
somebody, but here, I got it. My phone right here too. I'm asking you guys while my phone's sitting right in fucking front of me.
Either way, that's going to be a damn good fight.
It is. It's going to be a damn good fight. It really is. Oh, it's Chris Curtis. That's
Chris
who it
Curtis.
was. He just
He beat me to it,
steamrolled
damn it.
Chris Curtis. The action man. He just beat him up bad. I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys remember that one or not, but that was a rough one. And I feel like Jack Hermanson's really stepped up his skills. He's worked his way into the top echelon of the division. He's kind of stuck around that top 10 for a while now. I feel like Roman Dolidze is a tough matchup for him, but I feel like his overall game is going to be able to get him the win in this one.
All I'm going to say, dude, is that guy put on a fucking clinic in his last fight. Good Lord Almighty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that was a brutal fucking beating.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. That was a bad one. That's why I was like, man, he's like, of all the people right now, he's on a roll. Like,
Don't get me wrong. I know what Jack Hermanson's capable of. Like, don't get it twisted. Right. I'm just saying, I feel like his momentum is going to be able to get him a dub in this one. But man, Hermanson's going to be a test for him.
Beat after Dawkins, he beat Phil Haas. Remember when Phil Haas fucked up his knee and fought through the knee injury, and then he got knocked out? That's who
got knocked out cold.
Yeah.
Look, I'm an analytics guy, dude. So Dolidze has won 5 out of his last 6. Hermanson 3-3 out of his last 6, but never out of his last 6 has he won 2 in a row. He's coming off a win, so history says
this
smart
is the
money
one that he
going on Dolidze.
Understandably so.
Look at this guy. Call him Yanni the Greek. J-Bone the J-Bone.
Trust me, I ain't got smart money. Don't play my parlays. I advise you.
Oh, you should just play the ones that I say I'm going to play, and then don't play like I did the fucking one with O'Malley and cost myself $500.
The fight that I wanted to ask you guys about, though, the most, because I know we kind of cover all the big ones, but Amanda Ribas versus Tracy Cortez. How you guys feeling on this fight?
Kyle.
Okay, so I'm going first. So I don't know, man. So Tracy Cortez is interesting to me. I like watching her fight. I think she's interesting to watch fight, but Amanda Ribas is a fucking killer in that division. I think this is going to be a good fight for Cortez to really test where she's at. I feel like Ribas is really going to show whether she's ready to be in the deep end or, she's still on her way up.
Yeah, that's why I like the matchup, is because I feel like Amanda Ribas already had a main event, already, got that big star push and stuff from the UFC and stuff, and then since then has kind of come off a bit of a skid. Is looking to, of course, make her bounce back. I feel like she's still definitely a fan favorite to some extent. And then Tracy Cortez, undefeated in the UFC. To your point, Kyle, maybe has definitely taken on some lesser competition on the rise to that undefeated record, but as of now is finally making her move into some real fights. And I know in her last one, I was nervous about that as well, for her undefeated streak, as you may say. And I don't know, man. I just like this matchup. I feel like they did a really good job with this one, and I'm excited to see who's able to come out victorious in this one.
You guys ready for my analytics?
Yes, let's hear it.
Cortez has won her last 10 pro MMA fights.
Yeah.
Last 6, all by decision. So that right there, you got to work against that. So if I'm Hebas, I'm taking it to the ground. I'm going for a submission. Try to work her out, man. But this is a step up in competition for Cortez as well. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure who the favorite is on that one, but if Hebas is the underdog, I'm taking her by sub.
According to the odds they have on here, it says it's a pick 'em. It's minus 105, minus 115.
All right.
Who's got the 115? Who are they thinking is slightly higher odded?
Hebas.
Hebas, okay.
And Hebas is ranked lower too.
Take her by sub. Sprinkle a little money.
Okay, Yanni. You want to sprinkle. You want to sprinkle. You need to be sprinkling some money on Brian Barberena versus Rafael Dos Anjos. Holy shit. The odds on this one are insane. Minus 560 for Dos Anjos versus Brian Barberena, who isn't ranked, and you're getting a plus 430. But let's not forget, Barberena is the one that beat the shit out of Robbie Lawler.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I'll tell you what, after we get done with the show, we won't do it on the air, but after we get done with this show, we'll throw together some parlays. We'll throw it up on the Twitter machine, and we'll have our official knockouts and 3 counts parlays up. And you guys can pick yours. I'll pick mine. Cory, you pick yours. We'll see if we can win some money and who takes our bet. Who's going to take the risk? I'm chasing the money, so I'm going to be taking guys that never even won by submission for submission. So follow my bets, guys, if you want to lose all your money.
Follow my bets below.
You want to be poor? Follow J Bones parlays. Let's go.
I think that might be the clip for this show. But speaking of parlays, bro, how are you feeling about Stephen Thompson versus Kevin Holland?
Man, I feel like Kevin Holland feels like the UFC is doing him a favor, right? Like, finally, no wrestlers. Finally, somebody that's not going to try to just take me down and just, the one thing that Kevin Holland seems to love to do is run his mouth and throw his hands, right? And he seems pretty good at it too. But that being said, one person that I may argue is better at throwing hands and feet is Wonderboy Thompson. So that being said, I'm a big fan of Trailblazer Kevin Holland himself. I've talked about him many, many times here on the show. Love the way he looks at the game, the way he kind of talks about it, even the way him and Wonderboy are going back and forth and stuff. I don't know if you guys seen any of that stuff, but they're being real friendly going into this fight.
Very friendly.
And I don't know, man. I feel like this is Kevin Holland's thinking that this is just going to be an easy fight. He may not be actually thinking that, but he may be thinking, oh, I at least get to not worry about the wrestling and this, that, and the other. Yeah, but you got to worry about a world-class kickboxer that's also really good at MMA, that's been, fighting at the top level forever, fought for the title multiple times, has taken on, the who's list of, MMA stars in his division throughout the years.
Right, but to play devil's advocate, I mean, it couldn't have been a better time for him to catch Wonderboy either, because now you kind of know like what he's going to do and catch timing and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if you were going to fight Wonderboy, I'd argue now would be the time you'd want to fight him.
That's for sure.
Especially if you're a guy like Kevin Holland, who, let's be honest, he's hoping he's going to catch a knockout.
Yeah.
And he would like to, because the fight that he's coming off of with Khamzat was ridiculous.
He's got to make some kind of statement. That's
so
all there is to
come
it.
Back out there and really show him what's up. So kind of feel like the pressure's on him, to be honest.
I think there's pressure on both of them, because I feel like if Wonderboy loses this fight, they're not going to keep putting him in there with big names like that.
Yeah, he really looks like depending on how it happens, right? If it's a war back and forth and he shows his grit, but just ends up losing in either a decision or, TKO or something late or something like that. I feel like Wonderboy is really at that stage where he's like, either show your grit or, not necessarily your grit, but show your staying power, or you're kind of 1 foot and out the door type of mentality, one or the other. And at this stage of his career, I can tell he's still taking it serious. You can tell in his interviews and stuff like that, he's definitely prepared for the fight and everything like that. But I don't know, man. I feel like out of the two, he's probably got more to prove that he's still, got this, that he's still able to do this. But at the same point, Kevin Holland technically should have more gas in the tank, in his MMA longevity. And if he comes off a loss in this one, I don't know. Do we, he already retired once, and then came back because of a potentially favorable matchup, whatever the circumstance was, makes his return. But does he just fight this one and say, hey, I guess I'm not cut out to make it
I
in
think
the
that
top
was a
five?
money play.
Yeah, it very well could have been, but he got apparently he got fat checks for taking the Chimaev fight. So if it's just
I'm sure he did. I mean, the UFC's always rewarded it, and we already have seen what happens when you don't take it with what we talked about with Glover in this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, who are we taking in this one? Are you taking Kevin Holland or are you taking Thompson?
I want Kevin Holland to win. I feel like Wonderboy's going to maybe outstrike him.
So you're taking Wonderboy. Who you got, J-Bone?
If my dollars are taking Wonderboy, my that heart, that beating part in my chest, it says Trailblazers getting a dub come Saturday, but I'm not confident.
Well, I'm confident. I'm taking Holland by TKO. Let's go.
All right.
You know what, dude? I love Steven Thompson, but something about this matchup just tells me that Kevin Holland's going to throw some big wild ass haymaker and like time him and catch him. I feel like, and knowing Kevin Holland, I could see him winning by knockout or submission via dropping him and then trying to submit him versus trying to finish him with strikes. So
yeah,
I don't know
that for sure.
I really kind of think Kevin Holland gets this one. I feel like only reason being, I don't know that Wonderboy's chin can take a punch from him. Now, if Wonderboy just comes out and kicks his head in the third row, that's also possible too. But if I had to bet, I don't know, man. Something tells me I think Kevin Holland catches him and he catches him by knockout. But I still stick by what I said. The odds on that Barberena fight are fucking insane.
Wow. What's your guys' picks on that? We didn't make a quick analysis pick on that one.
I mean, I want to say RDA, but he hasn't really done good at 170. Mm-hmm. And Brian Barberena isn't coming in there to win a decision. He's coming in there to knock RDA's fucking head off.
Right. Yeah. Right, absolutely. And I feel like the big thing is RDA going to be able to get him down or not? That's going to be the difference in this fight. I feel like RDA is going to be shooting takedowns, trying to win the fight on the ground. And if Brian Barberena is able to reverse that momentum, kind of potentially end up on top, or even just stuff a couple takedowns and kind of show him like, hey, we're not going there, and then try to implement his game. I feel like those odds are just enormous for no reason. Like, not for no reason. I feel like RDA is the more skilled fighter of the two, but Brian Barberena brings some real.
And that's why I'm saying if there were one to throw some money on, that guy could win by knockout.
Yeah, but I've also struggled. I've seen him struggle with getting back up once he's taken down. So,
I agree. Like, I mean, if RDA is able to implement his game, Barberena's in trouble. But if Barberena says fuck his game and walks across the cage and starts throwing bombs at him and can catch RDA in the first couple minutes, it could be a big problem for RDA because his chin's already shown to be chinny.
Yeah,
a little bit.
That's true.
So we'll have to see. But
that money on there early before the lines change, man.
You're not kidding, dude. I mean, that's where to put your money at. Make sure you're spending your money with Michigan's finest G3 payroll. Until next time, and in the in-between time, I don't want to go to work. It's sad, but true. Damn it. Hit the subscribe button. Peace.